From the heart of Big Ten country, Los Angeles, California, Ryan Abraham and David Woods present the Podcast of Champions.
Welcome, everyone, back to the Podcast of Champions. I'm David Woods from Bruin Report Online, the UCLA site on the 24/7 Sports Network.
And I'm Ryan Abraham from USCFootball.com. USC site on the 24/7 Sports Network. And together we make the Podcast of Champions, talking all things Big Ten football. We are simulcasting on our YouTube channel. David loves to call it that. But yeah, you can get us all across the podcasting universe. Any platform you want to listen to the podcast, you can listen to the Podcast of Champions. And if you want to be a part of the show, you can be live in the chat, which is great. We got people in there already. Big10cast@gmail.com if you want to email us, at your leisure, whenever you want to do that. You can also call or text us, 424-532-0678. We got a voicemail to get to today from our buddy Perk. You can tweet at us at B1G Podcast. And like I mentioned, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you can leave us a 5-star rating and review us on Apple or leave a comment on Spotify. Do we have any new reviews, Mr. Woods?
We do. We have 3.
How do we get
reviews.
3 new ones? Okay.
I know. The first one is from Monkeys in My Head, Lost in Nebraska. I have been listening to your podcast for just over a year now. I still haven't figured out what you guys are doing yet. Everyone talks about Nebraska for the clicks and listens. If you do on Nebraska, they will listen more. Y'all have to commiserate with the fan base or dog on how they are paper tigers. Living in the 90s is the only way to live. Go Big Red.
All right.
Love it. This is from DC Dog 91. This is a podcast, and Body, this is a podcast. Love it. Perfect.
Maybe the best of the week. Yeah.
Yeah, we like that. This is from Montlake Magic, West Coast Royalty. This podcast is elite. Dave and Ryan break down all things Big 18 from the heart of the Midwest, also known as the South Bay in LA County. They toss around fun ideas for the conference and college football as a whole, their best one being that all game times should be listed in Pacific Standard Time. Make East Coasters do time zone math for once. PSD is the best time zone to watch a full day of football from anyways. Keep up the good work and all the prep you do for the show, Ryan. And thanks for your part too, Dave. Loyal listener, TDM.
TDM, love it. I'd love to send you a Trader Joe's gift card if that works. So email me, Ryan at USCFootball.com, and we'll send you one. That would be wonderful. We got a Spotify comment on our last show from Steven. Epic email rant by West Texas Mike. He's right. Great read by Dave. That was a great, and Steven, appreciate the comment. I think we should give West Texas Mike a Trader Joe's gift card. Do you think?
West Texas Mike deserves one because he's probably given us a minimum of $100 at this point.
Yeah. So, okay, West Texas Mike, just email me, Ryan at USCFootball.com. We'll also send you a Trader Joe's gift card. So fun stuff there. Before we jump into anything else, I just want to let you guys know about my bookie. Now, hopefully you didn't follow our picks from last week. If you faded us, you're crushing the world. Dave, do you know what you were in your picks?
Last week seems so long ago.
It was long time ago.
No one can say definitively what I was last
Did you have a favorite cover of the 7 games you picked? Because you only had one. You were 1-6 against the spread. One of the worst weeks we've ever had here. I did better than you, but still not good. I was 3-4. So we only had 2 games different. We should have had more different because the 2 games we had different I got right. But everything else, was not very good. So don't follow us there. But, you don't want to wait till Sunday. I know it can be scary betting college football, Big 10, Big 18, as our commenter said. But you want to start betting. You don't miss the first half of the fun. Get in on it on Saturday because that's where half the money is. College football's cooking. There's upsets. There's blowouts. Wild covers, and we've seen that a lot. MyBookie lets you hit on it all. Game lines, player props, and more. Everything you need before the pros even kick off. When Sunday rolls around, you're already up. MyBookie's got it all under one roof. You can win big in your Big Ten plays or the NFL Super Contest, their survivor pools. And if you're new to MyBookie, you're going to use our promo code POC, and any bet you choose up to 500 big ones will be fully covered. So you get it wrong, you get a redo. You get your money back. If it doesn't hit, you get it right back when you use the Bet Back bonus token. MyBookie, where bettors win together because bragging's good, but cashing is better. So
what
thanks to our
beautiful read.
Thanks to our friends over at my bookie. And thanks everyone if you're live in the chat. We have a little bit of hold on, I gotta do this one. Sort of breaking newsy. David, do we have one of those vote of confidences? Not for a head coach, but for an athletic director.
Yeah, so our friend Ben Bolch from the LA Times reported today that a group of 64 UCLA football players from the past had sent a letter to UCLA Chancellor Julio Frank, basically saying they wanted Martin Jarmond fired, UCLA athletic director Martin Jarmond fired, for all of the many, many things I have said on this podcast. Frank then just gave Ben a comment saying, and I will quote the tweet here. If you want to go to Ben's Twitter, you can read it along with me. At a top university like UCLA, a successful athletics program plays a powerful role in building community and strengthening connections. We deeply value the views of our Bruin alumni on how to maintain and elevate our legendary athletics program across all sports. Athletic Director Jarmond has UCLA's support, and we will continue to work with him to build a successful program that embodies the greatness of Bruins on and off the field. What I will say there is Athletic Director Jarmond doesn't sound great, right? Shouldn't that be Athletic Director Martin Jarmond? Like, I don't know. I mean,
it's a little formal.
Well, it actually wasn't like it was awkwardly like kind of just like you're last naming him. You're not even giving him, first reference there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know how much any of that stuff means. I mean, I think it's a vote of confidence because right now, it's October 29th. UCLA needs to make a head coaching hire in the next probably month and a half. And unless they plan on firing him in the next week or so, he's going to be the face on the search. So, I don't know how much meaning I would take from it if I'm a UCLA supporter or one of these 64 athletes. I think the beginning part of it, deeply valuing the views of our Bruin alumni and all that kind of stuff. Well, if they do, then, we'll see what Julio Frank does over the next, 8-9 months, I think. But we'll see. I mean, there have been lots of votes of confidence in the past that have ended with
yes,
things happening. So I think they're generally pretty meaningless when they happen.
You know what, if you're following the LSU situation, so the government gets really involved. So maybe we get some Gavin Newsom things going on. But the governor...
That's called a vote of no confidence.
Yes. If you didn't see, the governor of Louisiana came out for Scott Woodward, the AD of LSU, and emphatically said he's not hiring the next head coach. He'd rather have Donald Trump hire the coach. So can we get Gavin Newsom in there? Or is he going to get involved in this? He does when a Republican does something somewhere else, he likes to kind of respond. So maybe he's going to be like, UCLA, we're getting rid of Martin Jarmond. I don't know. Maybe he'll get involved.
It could be. Could be.
We'll see. But yes, anyway, vote of confidence there for Martin Jarmond. I'm sure it makes UCLA fans and all those 64 players that got together very happy. But great job reporting that, Ben Bolch. Let's do our recap. No, not a ton of games. We had a bunch of teams on buys. But like I said, the recap of how our bets went or how our picks went is not going to go very well. But yeah, 1-6, David, you had just an awful showing. Holy cow.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't me that had the awful showing. We're going to blame Oregon. We're going to blame UCLA. We're going to blame a wide variety of actors, but it certainly wasn't me.
Okay. I started off 3-0. I'm like, this is great. And then 0-4 the next one. But all right, let's go number 18.
Penn State Nittany Lions.
They run a bye. Yeah. They got a big one coming up this week.
We didn't have to watch Penn State football this weekend, everyone.
Yay. We all win.
Yay.
We win. Yay. Number 17.
Wisconsin Badgers.
At
Oregon Ducks.
One of the most ass performances of the Dan Lanning era for Oregon.
Super ass.
They beat Wisconsin 21-7 at home. Failed to cover by 17.5 points. We both took Oregon to cover 31.5. They didn't come close.
Did they score 31.5?
No, they didn't. They scored 21, Ryan.
21 points.
7. combined, these two teams didn't score 31.
And Wisconsin's terrible.
Dante Moore, I guess the big news from this one, aside from how ass Oregon looked, was Dante Moore got hurt. He had blood streaming down his face at one point. He wasn't playing well up to that point.
No, he had 86 passing yards.
Yeah, 86 passing yards. He was ass, and then he got hurt. Oregon was able to run the ball, but I was kind of horrified they weren't able to do what they wanted to this Wisconsin defense. I mean, I know Wisconsin's defense is better than its offense, which is and was terrible in this game. But Oregon, I mean, after the first stretch of the season, I was honestly, it was watching that Penn State game, and this was before we knew Penn State was bad, but they should have been running away with that thing.
Yeah.
But the offense was holding them back, and now the offense looks like it's starting to become kind of an issue just generally. So, yeah, I mean, Wisconsin was never in any real danger of coming close to winning this game. But it was just like, I don't know, a discouraging effort from Oregon. Discouraging level of, I think, focus and execution offensively. And then I think if they have any dreams of actually contending this year, they've got to really fix their offensive play.
Yeah, I was thinking, can we drop Oregon from number 3? But I'm not sure who you'd drop them below. It's just they're not playing they don't look like they're in the same category as Indiana and Ohio State right now. We'll see. They could turn it around. Obviously, super talented roster. When you look at a game like that, so Oregon only ran 64 plays. So Wisconsin tries to bog you down a little bit, but usually Oregon's good enough. You get the big explosive plays, you get something going. They couldn't get anything in the passing game. And I was like, okay, so Oregon probably threw a few picks or fumbled a couple times or no turnovers, So this was a no turnover, 21-7. That's discouraging. I don't know what's going on there, but we were very wrong on this one.
Yeah. Wisconsin's still terrible. They should fire Luke Fickell. We'll see if they do.
Yeah. I just saw something behind me as a shadow, someone walking by outside the studio. Very weird. Okay. That was what is that? Okay, let's go to number 16.
Purdue Boilermakers.
And we bumped this team up to number 14. They kind of swapped spots because of the game.
Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
Scarlet Knight.
I keep saying I'm going to quit Purdue. I keep doing it, and then I don't. And then I'm sitting there, and they give up yet another fourth quarter lead.
I got this one right. Yay!
They gave up 2 different fourth quarter leads. And then they allowed Rutgers, in a situation where they were really just playing to tie the game at that point, they kick a field goal, and then what does Purdue do on the next drive? And I do say Purdue do. They fumble the ball. Give it right back to Rutgers for the game-winning field goal. They lose 27-24. Rutgers is favored by 1.5 points. Purdue was up at different points. They were up by 10 points. They were up by 10 points to start the game.
Yeah.
They were up by 10 points at 17-7 in the third quarter, deep into the third quarter. They didn't relinquish the lead until 7:45 to go in the fourth quarter. Then they took it right back, and then they gave it up again. And it's just come on, Purdue. You're obviously better than you were, but you can't keep doing this to me. And so I still think both these teams are bad. I still think Rutgers is bad. I still think Purdue is bad. But Purdue just keeps, kind of messing up these situations.
Yeah, I think I had Purdue last week. We had Rutgers at 16 and Purdue at 15. Had to bump Rutgers up a little bit. They did have 543 yards in this one, and Purdue had 345. Kalakmanis, he did pretty well, but Purdue sacked him 5 times. But yeah, this was a weird one. It was who wants it? The lead changes a few times. Purdue got out to that early lead, and I think Barry Odom's going to do a good job there, but it's going to take some time. And I've definitely jumped off I thought Purdue had some a pulse. They're not as bad as they were before, but they're not winning games. So yeah, they're not Wisconsin bad yet, but we got them at number 16. Okay, next up, number 15.
Michigan State Spartans.
Charge!
They were hosting their arch rival. We got them at number 5.
Michigan Wolverines.
Scratch, 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 scratch.
I love it.
Yeah, it's just some hardcore lipstick on the pig from Michigan State again at the end of this game. Again, ruining one of our picks, our combined picks, because we both had Michigan to cover 14.5, which they were doing until very late in this game. And then Michigan State applied some lipstick, and they lost by 11.
Yeah.
But Michigan State continues kind of to I mean, is it spiraling at this point? I mean, I don't know if it's spiraling. It's sort of like a low, lazy sort of turn towards the ground. They've lost engine power. They're going to eventually land, and it's just a question of whether it'll be a crash or a landing. But they're 3-5 now, 0-5 in the Big Ten. Jonathan Smith may be dead in the water there, which is a weird thing to say a year and a half into a tenure, but it does kind of feel that way. Michigan didn't throw the ball, but they didn't need to. They ran the ball all over Michigan State.
Yeah. A couple of comments there. So Justice Haynes, he got hurt in the USC game. He had 152 yards, a couple touchdowns. Aiden Childs, he didn't turn the ball over, but he didn't throw a touchdown either. He was 14 of 28 for 130 yards. Like 28 attempts, 130 yards. Like that's not good. Like if you're going to stink by getting a bunch of yards, but also having turnovers, like you can't just be ineffective. So yeah, that was, there seems to be a little dead man walking situation there. And let me put this comment up again. We should point out, there was a monsoon in the Oregon game. So
that's true.
They said throwing wasn't an option anymore. And then Matthew says Michigan linebacker Jimmy Rolder was so good in this game. So I didn't see his line, but I think he was studding out in that one. All right. So Michigan looks, I have them up at number 5. You have an issue with that? I know I've been doing the power rankings.
I don't know who else would be 5.
It's hard to say. Like I got, we'll get into all the other stuff, but there's some teams have beat other teams, but Michigan had that clunker against USC, but they've looked pretty good since. All right, number 13, we've got
Maryland Terrapins.
Snap, 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 snap.
And they run a bye, Yay, Maryland. Number 12, we've got
Northwestern Wildcats.
And they were at number 10.
Nebraska Cornhuskers.
I'm peeling corn.
Northwestern did something essential for both of us this
Covered.
weekend. They covered, baby.
This is your only cover, baby.
My only cover. Nebraska was favored by 8.5. Northwestern blessedly covered that by 1.5. They only lost by 7.
Yeah.
So that was exciting. I think most exciting for them is that they were actually kind of close to winning this game. It was 21-all in the fourth quarter. Nebraska put together a really long, late touchdown drive. I think that drive was it felt like it was 9 minutes in real time. I think probably 6 or 7, but they had multiple 3rd and 7 conversions. It was, let me actually look at the stats here because I think it was 3 different times. I remember, 3 different times they were faced with a 3rd and 7 and converted. That's
for Nebraska. That's
some pretty good work. But they did some good work there. But then it wasn't over. I mean, Northwestern actually drove it pretty well. I think it was all the way down to Nebraska 30 or something, and then we're incomplete on 4th down. But the big takeaway I think from this season for me is that Northwestern is better than I think anyone had any right to think going into the year, and then frankly better than I thought 4 games into the year. They've been pretty competitive in basically every game except since they essentially got their shit together after Oregon, they've been competitive or won every single game. And the competition, Penn State's obviously been a downgrade and Nebraska's just merely okay. But that UCLA win looks a little bit different. And frankly, losing by 20 to Oregon, that's not the end of the world. It's that weird one at Tulane where they only scored 3 points. But and I think Nebraska, they're kind of rounding into form as something that's pretty good. A far cry, I think, from the contender we thought they might be. But if you take a gander at their closing slate, they've got a game this weekend that I think is going to be pivotal for how this season ends because they only have to play. It's at UCLA and at Penn State. they could win both of those. And then it's Iowa at home. There's a scenario where they go 4-0 down the stretch. There's also a scenario where they go 2-2, and everyone's talking about a disappointing Nebraska year.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see.
Watching this one to be like trying to get the cover, and obviously we got it, but the Nebraska the kickoff the second half touchdown, you're like, oh, like that's always happened. Like, okay, this, got a good chance to cover here, and then you're just like, oh, kickoff returns for touchdowns are not good for the free covers there. But Northwestern actually outgained Nebraska in this one. Like I thought they played pretty well. A few things didn't go their way, but they're a pretty good team. Yeah, I'm curious to see what Nebraska's like. They had that bad one against Minnesota where Rolla gets sacked 9 times. I thought they should have, kind of asserted their will 9 times. Asserted their will a little bit in this game. I mean, the difference in the game is a kickoff return for a touchdown, So I don't know. We'll see. They got, like you said, there's a big one this weekend it's going to be important for both sides of that one. All right. Next up, we've got number 11.
UCLA Bruins.
Wow.
At number 2.
Indiana Hoosiers.
Hey, folks. I'm from Indiana.
He knows the score. He gets the women. Signetti kills.
We probably could have gone number 1 with Indiana. I think
we could.
That would be my revision here.
All right.
Wow. We doubted Signetti, and by we I mean me. And that is always a mistake. It's always a mistake. Every single time it's a mistake, and we got to remember that.
Wait, did I get this right?
Earlier this year, I did it right now.
Did I get this right?
Yeah, you got it right.
Was it 35-3 at the half? Was that the score?
35-3 at the half. Indiana was favored by 26.5. They nearly covered by the spread. Like if they had scored 3 more points, they would have covered by the spread. Indiana won 56-6. It didn't feel that close. Indiana is, for my money, the best coached team in football, and I don't mean just college football. In football, they're not overwhelmingly talented, but good God, like those defensive players, they stay in their gaps. They are extremely disciplined tacklers. They do not blow assignments. And then they've got a few guys who are just like D'Angelo Pons. I don't know how the hell he was only recruited at JMU because that dude is sticky as hell in coverage. Yeah. It's insane. Aiden Fisher, he got hurt early in this game, but he had a pick 6 to start the freaking game. He's nuts at linebacker. Tyreek Tucker on the defensive line. Good God, he blew by almost every single offensive lineman UCLA ran out there. Nico Iamaleava was constantly under pressure. He did not respond well under pressure. But Indiana's defense is just, they were lights out. There was nothing for UCLA to find. Like it was one of those games where even when UCLA would complete a pass, that player was immediately tackled because the defender was blanketing them. There was no opening. It was just, can you fit a ball in between 3 guys? Then maybe, we'll let you complete this one for 6 yards. But otherwise, no. And on the other end, I thought UCLA's defense, it's kind of lost in the 56 points for Indiana, but some of that was obviously UCLA's offense being terrible. I thought the defense actually played okay. They made Indiana work a little bit, but this is a highly efficient Indiana offense. They don't go off the field easily. I think UCLA only forced 1 punt. Just a comprehensive beatdown. Indiana's the best team I've watched this year. I think they're the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, I guess we could have had them number 1. Our friend Jake over at the What's Bruin show sent us a ditty, I guess you could call it. It's a little over a minute. Should I play it right now?
We
could do it. All right, here we go.
Whatever. So it's 9 a.m. UCLA's about to play number 2 Indiana. And I'm like, whatever. So Nico throws a pick 6 on his first possession. I'm like, whatever.
I turned that low.
UCLA is 3-5, but whatever. UCLA is 3-5, but whatever. So I was helping my friend move up the Palisades, and some dude walked up to me, and he's like, yo, UCLA lost 56-6. I'm like, whatever. Bruins were 1-11 on third down. Barely got 200 yards. But I'm like, whatever. So I'm reading ESPN, and this dork Adam Rittenberg tries to tell me that Stanford's a better job than UCLA. And I'm like, whatever. Because UCLA is 3-5, but whatever. But UCLA is 3-5, but whatever. Whatever.
That
Nice,
wasn't
Jake.
Jake. Just so you know, that wasn't me cringing at your song. I thought it was lovely. It was Ryan had the gain set up so high
It was
that
too loud.
It was blowing out my earphones the entire first 30 seconds.
Sorry. Hopefully that was okay for people.
Yeah.
But whatever. Nice. Thanks, Jake, for that one. Let's go to number. Oh, I'm going to pull this up. Number 9. We've got. Oops.
Minnesota Golden Gophers.
And they were at. I got them up at number 4 now, Mr. Woods. Number 4.
Iowa Hawkeyes.
You're blowing me out on all the effects too. I don't know if it's me or you,
It's interesting. Okay.
but not your voice. It's the effects.
I'll turn it down a little.
Iowa had another just kind of quintessential Iowa football game. But like we're reaching like truly the quintessential, but like pinnacle of Iowa football. They won 41-3. Ryan, usually when you score 41 points, it means your offense really exploded, right? Like you really did some crazy things, right? Offensively with your offense.
Or if you're Iowa, it might be 3 interceptions, maybe.
Right, because they had 3 offensive touchdowns in this game.
And
They
scored 41 points.
Yeah. That's
Iowa scored 41. Oregon scored 21. Like, this is bizarro world.
Yeah. There was a punt return for a touchdown. There were 2 field goals, and there was an interception for a touchdown. Yeah. Yes, very much. Very much.
That's about as Iowa as it gets.
Yeah. Minnesota back to being hot dog shit. Drake Lindsay threw 3 interceptions. They ran the ball for a total of 24 yards. Did they run the ball 3 times, Ryan? No, they didn't. They ran the ball 25 times for 24 yards. What is that? I'm not a math guy, but I do believe that's less than 1 yard per carry. You are not even falling forward. You are just falling backward.
Like
you're actually kind of just turning around and sitting on just short of the next yard marker.
Yeah, most human beings are like 2 yards tall, so just fall down. Even if you hold the ball like middle of your chest or something, like you still get more than a yard.
Like it's so beautiful because Iowa cannot throw the ball. Mark Gronowski not good in this game again. They really couldn't run the ball very well either. It did not matter. Minnesota simply could not score. They couldn't move the ball. They could not score. Iowa sat on them. 141-3. Like scientists will be studying this years from now. How was this a 38-point game? And somebody will just respond, Iowa.
Yeah. And
then everyone will understand because Iowa will be understood many, many centuries from now.
We were like getting 8.5 points. This is great. No, not even close. Yep. Hawkeyes. I mean, you're going to win a lot of games like this. I don't know. They've been doing it. We'll see when they play some better teams. But Minnesota just was like, they looked like hot garbage. They've been so up and down, Played well against Nebraska, played bad against Cal, played bad against Iowa. I don't know what to make of this team, but they're I think your read on them has just been not good, and I think you're right. Like we just see them, it's like that's not good.
Yeah.
All right, number 8.
USC Trojans.
They're on a bye. We didn't have to watch USC football this weekend.
No, I went. Yeah, I didn't have to like travel. It was great. Number 7, we've got
Illinois Fighting Illini.
Hi, I'm from Illinois.
And they were at number 6.
Washington Huskies.
Yeah, Washington beat that ass 42-25.
Really bad.
Yeah, and this was one where Washington was favored by a mere 3.5 points, and us idiots, us dumbasses.
We are
took
dumbasses.
Illinois.
Yeah.
So they covered by quite a bit. DeMond Williams, really good at the old football. Really good at the old pigskin sport.
He's good at that.
Yeah. Luke Altmaier, not as good. He threw a couple picks, but DeMond Williams had 4 passing touchdowns, also ran it and was like just a weapon.
Very effective
in the running game. So Washington kind of just kept pouring it on. Like Illinois kept it close at halftime. It was, I think, 21-17, something like that. And then Washington just did again what it did, another 21 points in the second half, and Illinois was just not able to match. Their offense just not anywhere near as consistent. And Washington was just super balanced. I mean, I don't think Washington is great. They're obviously kind of a far cry from 2 years ago when they were a playoff team. And, we saw against Ohio State and Michigan, they struggled to score in those games. But again, you look at their end of season slate at Wisconsin, Purdue at home, at UCLA. Those should all be wins for this Washington team. So that's 3 more on top of the current 6. That's 9. And then it's Oregon at home. The Oregon team I just watched against Wisconsin can absolutely lose to this Washington team unless Washington has an elite defense issue. Because, the theory from Ohio State and Michigan is maybe they struggle with, good athletes on defense. Well, Oregon's got a lot of those. So it'll be interesting. Is Washington kind of similar to like Indiana from last year? Not obviously as explosive as Signetti was, but is it this effect where when you run up against a team that has, some elite athleticism on defense that you run into issues? Yeah,
it's really impressive that they've been able to, play like this at home. And when you got, Jonah Coleman went over 100 yards. He had a couple touchdowns. DeMond Williams, throwing for 4 TDs, but also being very effective with his legs. It's just, that's really hard to defend. You're going to get that kind of balance and 6 touchdowns between your 2 studs. Like, all right, like that's going to be tough to stop. But they look really good. I think it's a good Illinois team that had a bad game against, Indiana but looked good in a lot of games and did not look as good in this one. So maybe Washington can do this better at home. Maybe the travel, they didn't look real good against Ohio State, but that's Ohio State, right? I think there's some positivity there for Washington. And, you win those clunkers on the road and don't lose them, and then take care of business at home against some good teams. I think, and like you said, the slate down the stretch, a lot of winnable games. And then, Oregon's looking more winnable every minute. So kudos to Jed Fish, the next head coach at Florida. No, I'm just kidding. We don't know. Gonna see what happens there. Okay, and then we got number 1.
The Ohio State Buckeyes.
Also on a bye. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to week 10. We got how many? 6 games? 6 games, I think, to pick. A couple 9 a.m.ers. First up, we've got
Penn State Nittany Lions.
Rawr.
traveling to
The Ohio State Buckeyes.
9 a.m. on Big Fox. Penn State traveling to number 1 Ohio State. Ohio State's favored by 20.5 points. This is kind of crazy to me, I'll be honest with you, because, look, Penn State's not very good this year, but here's what they've done. They lost by 6 to Oregon. They lost by 5 to UCLA. They lost by a point to Northwestern, and they lost by a point to what we now acknowledge is probably a pretty good Iowa team, right?
Yeah.
Ohio State, I think they are legitimately their ranking. They're a very good team, but they're not like nuking teams from orbit that are any good. Like, they blew out Minnesota, they blew out Wisconsin. They didn't score at will against Washington. They didn't score at will against Illinois. I think Penn State's defense is better than either of those two teams. I think Ohio State wins this game, and probably pretty comfortably, because I'm not sure Penn State's going to be able to score. But I've got it as kind of similar to their Washington game. I think it'll be like 24-7 or, that sort of thing. So yeah, give me Penn State here.
All right, I'm going to take the Ohio State Buckeyes. One, because I wrote it down, and then you said you're going to pick Penn State, and then two, I remembered you went 1-6 last week, so going against you is perfect. So I'm going to take the Buckeyes to they're going to treat this game like it was supposed to be, where it's like number 1 versus number 3 or something, and I think they're going to roll. All right, so next up we've got
Rutgers Scarlet Knights
Scarlet Knight.
on the road at
Illinois Fighting Illini.
Hi, I'm from Illinois.
9 a.m. on NBC. Rutgers traveling to Illinois. Illinois is a 12.5-point home favorite. It feels like every time Illinois has a somewhat disappointing performance, they then bounce back with something that's like equally impressive on the other end. And they just so happen to be going against the Rutgers team that I am kind of like Minnesota, still convinced is ass, even though they keep winning the occasional game. So give me Illinois.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Illinois as well. We saw them have a really poor outing against Indiana, come back and beat a pretty good USC team. This is not a pretty good Rutgers team. You're probably want to get some revenge. Things didn't go your way. I think they're going to, because this game's at home, I think they're going to pound them. So 12.5 is a lot, but I'm going to take the Illini and lay those points. Okay, we got next up
Indiana Hoosiers
Hey, folks. I'm from Indiana.
on the road taking on
Maryland Terrapins.
Snap, 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 snap.
12:30 p.m. on CBS. Number 2, Indiana traveling to Maryland. Indiana is a 21.5-point road favorite. I'm going to take Indiana, but I will say the one thing that gives me pause here is that they have been slightly less dominant on the road than they have been at home. Now, in fairness, they've played 2 good teams on the road, Iowa and Oregon. But they won those games by a combined 15. At home, like that's where, we all remember 63-10 over Illinois. We just saw 56-6 over UCLA. Those kind of like ridiculous scores. So I wouldn't be surprised if they don't cover. I wouldn't be surprised, but I can't in good conscience pick against the Killer Signetti again.
very, very, very hard knowing this exists.
He knows the score. He gets the women. Signetti kills.
I think Maryland
defense is good.
Yeah, and you got a young quarterback, but like that's the kind of stuff Signetti eats up. Like, oh, you're gonna make some spectacular plays, but also make some mistakes. And like Indiana's the team that just jumps on all your mistakes, and you're just screwed. I like this one to be a blowout, and I think you're getting towards the end of the season now, and there's style points involved for Indiana. Like they're like, we're gonna show you what's up. Which I thought we'd see from Oregon last week. Like, we're going to show you what's up. Didn't really show us what's up. I think Indiana is going to show them what's up. So I'll lay the points and sleep well at night. Okay. Next up.
Michigan State Spartans.
Charge!
And they're on the road taking on
Minnesota Golden Gophers.
12:30 p.m. on the Big Ten Network. Michigan State traveling to Minnesota. Minnesota's a 3.5-point home favorite. Ryan, there are a lot of ass-offs in this league this year. These are 2 ass teams.
This is an ass-off.
So here's the thing. Should either of these ass teams be favored by more than 3 points over each other? Now, I don't know the answer to that because 3.5 isn't a lot. If any team was favored by 6 points in this game, I'm obviously picking the other end because I think all these teams are bad. I think I like Minnesota more than Michigan State just because I think Michigan State is kind of dead in the water. I don't think they're bought in at all to Jonathan Smith. You've got like the running backs like liking Instagram posts of like, is Jonathan Smith on the hot seat? Like there's some stuff here that probably isn't great. So I'm going to take Minnesota as the home favorite, but I just want everyone to know ahead of time. I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same. They lost. Minnesota lost at Iowa 41-3, right? They lost at Ohio State 42-3, but they beat Nebraska 24-6 at home. They beat Purdue at home by 7. They only beat Rutgers at home by 3, but I feel like they just play better at home. So I'm going to take Minnesota, lay the points at home. I think in the ass off, they're still a little better. than what we got from Michigan State, who's lost their last 5 games. Michigan, Indiana, UCLA, Nebraska, and USC. That's not good. So I don't feel confident. If it was like 7.5 points, I would consider it, but I'm not going to consider 3.5. So give me that. All right. Here's David's favorite team. He can't quit them. He can't quit them.
Purdue Boilermakers.
On the road at
Michigan Wolverines.
Scratch.
Because I want to do it again. 4 p.m. on the Big Ten Network. Purdue traveling to number 21 Michigan. Michigan's a 21.5 point home favorite. What do you do here? Because I don't think Michigan's are they covering 21 points? I don't know. I'm gonna do it again. Fuck it. Purdue. Taking Purdue. Plus 21.5. I'm comfortable being wrong. I don't care. Purdue.
I almost have to go against you.
I cannot sit here in good conscience and take Michigan after they failed to cover against Michigan State.
Yeah. So Purdue's not been good against the spread. So they were favored by 2.5. They lost to Rutgers. They were getting 3 and lost 19-0 to Northwestern. They did cover against Minnesota. That was the 7.5 points. But they don't cover. 7.5, they got Illinois. They lost by more.
Yeah.
They didn't cover the 24.5 Notre Dame. It's not like Michigan's been covering a lot, but their last big spread was Wisconsin. They didn't cover that, 17.5. This is tough. But because you're taking Purdue, I think I have to take Michigan.
Do it. Do it. Please do.
So, yeah. My gut is take Purdue.
I need to have this hammered into my face enough that I will stop taking Purdue.
But, my gut says go with you, but my brain says that you're terrible at this, so don't do that.
You want to hear about a team that's not going to win another game this year?
Yeah.
Purdue has to go at Michigan, then
Okay.
Ohio State at home, then at Washington, and then Indiana at home.
Jeez.
Yeah.
They're 2-6 right now.
Purdue is done.
So they're going to be like the best 2-win team in the country.
There you go.
I think Barry Odom's got them going there, but not right. Okay, we've got one more. We've got
USC Trojans.
who went from unranked to ranked without playing, so that's interesting. And then a team that could be ranked. They're on the road at
Nebraska Cornhuskers.
I'm peeling corn.
4:30 on NBC. Number 23 USC traveling to Nebraska. USC is the 6.5 point road favorite, and I'll just say that feels a little crazy to me because I think qualitatively, obviously the functions of these two teams are different. USC has the number 1 offense in the country. But qualitatively, I don't think these teams are that dissimilar.
No.
That one should be a 6.5 point road favorite over the other. So I'm going to take Nebraska. I think it's a matchup thing, and USC could blow them away because the offense is that good. But I could also see a scenario where Nebraska uglies it up at home, and it's like a 20-17 final. So yeah, give me Nebraska in the points.
I'm going to take Nebraska as well. USC's just been bad on the road. They haven't covered. Now they technically got a cover against Notre Dame because it was 9.5 most of the time. They lost by 10, but it switched to 10.5 right before the game. So they're getting a cover for that. But I don't look at that as a cover. They didn't cover against Purdue. They didn't, favored against Illinois. Didn't cover on the road. I just don't see them covering on the road. They've come into a bunch of games as 7-point favorites on the road, and they keep losing them, not even covering. So until I see them do it, I'm going to take Nebraska in the points here. It's going to be a blackout, Halloween, all this weird stuff that's going on. I don't think Dylan Royal is great. He completes a lot of passes, though, and some of that, the USC secondary, you can dump it in before that and get some bigger plays. But so Jade Mayav is the only quarterback in the country, David, that averages over 10 yards an attempt. The only one, which is crazy. But Nebraska's defense is actually good. They're 4.5 yards per attempt or something. So I think they're going to be able to score, but they'll just make some mistakes. And maybe USC wins by like a field goal or something, but that's just a lot of points to kind of give up on the road when I haven't seen USC play great on the road.
Same.
All right. Good stuff. Let's take a quick break and we'll do questions. Back in a minute. Alrighty, we're back here on the podcast of champions. We're going to go to the emails, but we want to let you know about the survivor pool. There's 5 people left. Everyone from 252. 2 last week, the 5 winners. 2 took Iowa, 1 took Michigan, 1 took Nebraska, and 1 took Oregon. I think that's incorrect because that's 6, right? Oh, no, that's 5. Okay. And then the one that lost, someone picked Minnesota.
That was very cute where you were trying to correct the simple math of the Stanford graph.
The Stanford guy. Yes, I was looking at the Minnesota one too, but that's under losers. That's not under the winner. So 6 total, but 5 won. Everyone has already taken Purdue, Indiana, Maryland, and Northwestern. Only one surviving player has not yet picked Iowa, Washington, and Rutgers. There's one team available to everybody. That's Penn State. So that's weird. So Thomas picked Minnesota. He was the first player who was eliminated before he picked because he had picked all the other 7 teams that went on to win. So he couldn't have picked a winner this week. So we're getting to that, the nitty gritty, I guess you could say. So this week's going to be hard. Only 9 teams are even available to pick because of buys and eliminated teams. And only available to at least half the field are Ohio State, Penn State, and USC. So the official rules, one of the possible prizes winning is quote, a detailed play-by-play recap by Ryan and David of the Rutgers Purdue game. Have at it, boys. All right, so we'll see.
Right. We already gave that shit away.
We did. All right. What the Jake thing from What's Bruin Show, I think I played that for you. And then Frank in Sacramento, overshadowed by Jake Browning no more. What does David Woods think of Tyler Shuck making his debut? Or what do you say his name is? It's Shuck, but what do you?
Tyler Show.
Show, yes.
Tyler Shoe.
Shoe.
Tyler Shug.
Tyler Shoe making his debut for the professional football team, New Orleans Saints, after playing 7 years of college football. Did you even know that?
That's
that was
wonderful,
happening?
Frank. I have watched precisely 0 minutes of professional football this year, so I wasn't even aware of this fact, but that is delightful. I'm glad that he is there to confuse everyone with how a GH gets pronounced as a CK.
I think they had Spencer Rattler as the starter, and he didn't win games or whatever. But Tyler, I guess, is going to start this one. So kudos to him.
Text message. Am I wrong in assuming that the funniest and most abjectly painful version of the coaching carousel this offseason is one where Screamy McRedface ends up at UCLA? Screamy McRedface, if everyone is unaware, that's Brian Kelly. Little nickname I coined for him is Anger McRedface, but you got to say it like an Irishman because he's a filthy Irishman. I am too, so I can say that. And you got to say it like Anger McRedface, because that's what he looks like. Because he's the worst person in college football, and he's always screaming at everyone because he's just a fucking exposed hemorrhoid of a person, and obviously is neglect at Notre Dame. Certainly had nothing to do with that student manager falling to his death from a fucking scissor lift. Brian Kelly should never coach again. He should have to do penance like Sisyphus walking up a hill for the rest of his life. He should be writing letters to everyone he's hurt in life. He should be doing deep therapy work, figuring out why he's such a bad person, whether it was innate, whether he's innately evil, whether it is in fact due to some childhood trauma. I'm sure it's a combination of the both. But he's an awful human being. I hope he doesn't end up with success anywhere. I hope he is castigated and shunned from the town square. If he isn't shunned from the town square, put him in whatever it's called, stocks, and just have people throw rotten fruit at him for the rest of his life. Piece of shit. Hope nothing good ever happens to him. But yeah,
you're on the fence.
Obviously, the UCLA head coaching job is nothing good. We know that, but I don't wish for that either. Because legitimately, if they hired him, and this might be enticing now for UCLA athletic director Martin Sherman, I would have to stop covering this team. I would not be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to hold my nose and talk to this guy on a regular basis.
Is there a non-zero chance that they hire him?
I would put it at 0. I don't think he'd pass the vetting.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to pass the vetting at a lot of places. There's a lot of crap coming out right now from former players not long ago at LSU who are saying some bad things about him. So, awful human being.
Hold on. We got some breaking news. Matthew, I know he's dialed in. Brian Kelly to Westwood confirmed.
Yeah, baby.
Non-zero. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate the report. He always does an amazing job reporting. And sorry, Griffin, for the tirade there. But
sorry, Griffin.
All right, we got voicemail.
I hope he contemplates his sorrows at losing that job by climbing a scissor lift.
Nice. Perk
and hanging out at the top of it, just thinking perhaps on a windy day.
Yeah. All right. Perk's up.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Perk. I heard a little bit of this talk in the run-up to James Franklin getting fired, and people have floated it in the case that Wisconsin isn't quite able to figure something out with Luke Fickell. But people have talked about reduced buyouts, and I'm wondering from if you've ever come across them in covering your teams, how do they play out? Because for me, I'm just kind of wondering, what is the incentive of the coach to come to the table for that, unless it's really a job he really absolutely does not want to get fired from, period. I'm just thinking, if you were in James Franklin's situation, or in this case, Luke Fickell's, I would think they would want to just say, hey, if you really want to fire me, then go fire me and owe me everything or pay me everything that I'm owed. So I was just curious how those are structured and how those can play out, if you guys have any insight into that. Thanks, guys.
A little bit. Oh, do you want to go first or no?
No, you go ahead.
So, Paul Chryst was very generous, but I think a lot of coaches aren't. I think most of the contracts are usually in the coach's favor. I think for the Brian Kelly case, from my understanding, he's going to get $800,000 a month essentially going forward, and they're going to try to negotiate something. I don't think there's a whole lot of incentive for him. Most of these contracts are very favorable towards the coaches because the agents know what they're doing, and the athletic directors and those people don't usually. But there could be some goodwill there. There could be some working things out, and it depends. A lot of I know for James Franklin, he's supposed to look for work. He can't just walk away. So it's part of his clause that he's supposed to try to get working that would offset what he was going to be paid. And it's more of a $8 million a year thing, I believe, that he's getting paid or something like that. And some of them, I think with Stoops at Kentucky, he's owed $37 million, but it's due in 30 days. So it depends what's in the contract. There's different language depending on the coach. And there could be some incentive for the coach to sort of work something out. Maybe if it's a long-term thing, you could just work out a lump sum. Hey, we're going to pay you $40 million today instead of $80 million over, something like that. So yeah, I think it just depends on what the contract is. But I don't think there's usually a ton of incentive for the coaches to bend over backwards and say, here, don't give me all this money. You signed the contract, you agreed to this, you got to pay the guy the money. Oh, you're muted. Let me see. Weird. All of a sudden, we can't hear David Woods. It's not terrible for our listeners. I mean, it's bad for me because I should listen to what he has to say. Did you change anything there? I'm showing a little red. Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Am I good?
Yeah, you're good. What happened?
So I think my iPhone had done something weird where it had been my mic. Did I sound weird this entire show?
Yeah, you were sort of in a fishbowl or something.
Why the hell didn't you say something weird?
I don't know. You're not good at this stuff, so.
No, I think my iPhone, it was sitting next to me and it just gave me a mic signal. I think it was anyway. What I was saying, contracts. So the only time it makes sense for a coach to actually negotiate it down is one, the school has dirt on him and will make a strong and perhaps reasonable case to get a with cause firing, but they don't feel strongly enough about it, but maybe you don't want to take it to court. I could see a scenario where that happens. 2, you're paid out over a period of many, many years and many, many months, and you would rather take a lump sum. But that's not a lump sum where it's like $10 million. That'd be like on a $50 million contract. Okay, pay me 30 right now, and I'll walk away.
Like what they do for lotteries and stuff, right? Usually that's better to get it all now if you can
lump sum versus the annuity. But those are the only 2 scenarios where it makes any sense. Like goodwill does not exist. You got to remember most of these, like when you think of a coach, again, think of a PE teacher who's a sociopath. Like that is really most of the time what you're dealing with. They have no loyalty to you or your school or anybody involved. All they want to do is get paid and then go on to their next sociopathic mission, which is more than likely coaching again. And the trying to claw it back because somebody has not like looked for work to your standard. Yeah, good luck with that. I don't think that's ever worked out for any school. I don't think they've ever been able to do that. Those clauses have absolutely no power whatsoever. So, long story short, don't sign your coach to a stupid big buyout. It's a bad idea. It will hurt your university and probably your state in the long run.
I'm curious to see what happens, David, because I agree. Like, didn't you learn your lesson? Like, stop doing these crazy. But now the competition is so heavy, like, the agents are just going to eat this up, and they're probably still going to be big buyouts and long terms and stuff. And I think, this cycle is the craziest one we've seen as far as coaching carousel goes. And you got so many big jobs that they're going to open up smaller jobs, and then those are, even more will open up. But if you get someone that's going to be like an up-and-comer that would take a 5-year deal and a decent money, but not, and 70% of the buyout instead of 100%, things like that. I think that would work out well, and it might work out as a coach too, And then if the guy goes crazy, you Signetti him, and then you make him Kirby Smart money, Don't give him Kirby Smart money to start. Like, get a little, proof in the pudding or whatever, and then you can give him better money. So I think you're probably better off. You get the Mike Elkos of the world, and he does a good job at A&M, and he goes to the playoff and wins a couple games. Give him a bigger contract now, but instead of just doing out the get-go, I don't know what his contract's like, but I think it's more reasonable. And maybe this cycle is better to have some reasonable contracts with guys that are not like, Lane Kiffin's going to get a lot of money. But outside of that, like, who do you want to give a ton of money to? Just anybody? Like, whoever you pick, now they have to get a $10 million a year, 10-year contract? Like, no. Like, give
stupid.
give them $5 million. If they don't want it,
If they don't get a college head coaching job, you know what they go do? They go teach PE to 7th graders. Get out of here.
Awesome.
This is from Alex and SF. Firing timelines. Hello, champions. Given how bonkers the coaching carousel is shaping up to be this year and the caliber of jobs opening, did UCLA gain any significant benefit by firing Foster in September? Yes, of course, the 3 weeks of the Skipper and Jerry win streak were fun, and UCLA got a brief window of positive national coverage instead of the death march to 0-12. There were clear benefits for the current season we are in to not be a death slog. But in terms of the future, in hindsight, did the jobs that would go on to open negate any positives of firing early? Again, not counting the current season, what difference would it make if UCLA openly acknowledged Foster would be fired December 1st like Indiana did with its basketball coach last year? You save a lot of buyout money while still getting to form a search committee. The job is still publicly going to be open. The recruiting class is still going to mostly decommit, and maybe there is far more heat on Jarmond if you don't get the 3-game winning streak. So with an extra month of information and perspective, did UCLA benefit by firing Foster in September? Look, guys, the answer is yes. I think there is a lot of just kind of general, like, I got to tell you, this season for me is the longest season I've ever covered. I feel like it's been 7 years since early August. For a lot of people around UCLA who are not in the media, but like are just around UCLA and they work at UCLA, this has been a really long season. They needed to fire Deshaun Foster because morale was in the tank in the athletic department, like through the roof, like, or through the basement, whatever you want to call it. This was not a good situation. And the longer you let him stay and fester there, it was going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Damaging to the culture, damaging to the brand, damaging to the athletic department, damaging to everybody involved. Had to end. And regardless of whether you were getting started on the search tomorrow or not. Now, obviously, that has afforded and should continue to afford UCLA more time to do its due diligence. There's going to be more jobs that open up. I mean, we're still talking about Wisconsin. That should probably open up. I would fire Luke Fickell tomorrow. Florida State could still open up. Auburn's could still open up. There's still a lot of schools that could open up. UCLA is still ahead of a lot of those schools. And frankly, UCLA is not going to be in competition with Florida and LSU this cycle. They might be in competition with Ole Miss or Wisconsin, maybe.
Yeah.
But even then, like what UCLA has to do this cycle is evaluate the crap out of like 100 guys. Like go down to the G5 ranks, go to the FCS ranks, look at every single head coach who's doing anything at any of those levels and vet them. Like see what they've got, see what their offenses and defenses do, see all this stuff. Look at all the coordinators for every successful program at the P4 level, all of them. Have every single one of those guys on their list and make them cross you off. Like really go and do a real search, like a really hardcore, we're looking at everybody search and come up with the right guy. And I think the time allows them to do that now. And I think the impetus of Florida and LSU firing their coaches and making this a more competitive market, Penn State firing their coach and making this a more competitive market, should enforce the reality to UCLA's decision makers. We have to do a real search. We cannot just go for a shiny object because first, they're not going to be available. And second, anything that we then consider a shiny object who's not the ones that are going to Florida, LSU, and Penn State, they probably stink. So let's look at who's a really, really good coach. And let's go find the best one. And the thing is, and my theory of the case is, there are a lot of good coaches in college football. You can go find one. You can go find one who will find some success at UCLA. It's not that hard. UCLA just made it hard for a long, long time, and they need to stop.
Yeah, and I think you get like a top 3 or 4. So if your number one guy is like, no, I want 10 years and guaranteed, you're like, okay, we're going to the other guy. Like we have 4 guys we like, you know.
After starting with a list of 100+ names.
Yes, you got to cut it down. Yeah, and then
cut it down to a dozen, do some real vetting of a dozen, and then you get it down to 5 or so, and you interview.
Yeah.
And hard interviews, and you know, you should be able to land somebody good then. There's no excuse. I don't care how competitive this market gets. There's no excuse for UCLA landing somebody who sucks.
All right, we got to finish these last 2 quick. Eric, firing coaches. I know, hi, Ryan and Dave. I know Dave's maxim that the best time to fire your head coach is immediately, but does the number of high-profile schools looking for coaches change that at all? If you're say Wisconsin, Fickell clearly isn't working out. However, you're not winning any competition with LSU, Penn State, or Florida for the top coaches, and you're even behind peer schools like UCLA and Virginia Tech, who have already begun their searches. Do you, 1, fire Fickell and move forward with your 8th choice candidate for your head coaching job, or 2, endure 1 more year of crappy football, lower your buyout, and hope you have a shot at someone better next year? Wasting 1 year in college football is bad, but if you hire another guy who doesn't work out, you've wasted another 3 years. Thoughts, Eric? I think you kind of already answered this, but...
The right time is always right now. And the thing is, if we learned anything this cycle, Penn State just fired James Franklin, literally went to the playoff last year, and he has a $50 million buyout. LSU just fired Brian Kelly, he has a $50 million buyout. Nobody cares anymore, and these cycles are happening faster and faster. Kalen DeBoer could be fired 2 games into next year, and then Alabama's open. So what, does Wisconsin wait again because Alabama's open now? Again, Wisconsin isn't hiring from the same pool as LSU, Penn State, and Florida. They're just not. And that's not a bad thing. In fact, I think it's an advantage for Wisconsin. They don't have to win the press conference. You don't have to do that. LSU has to. Penn State has to. Florida has to. Wisconsin doesn't have to. Like, they really don't. Wisconsin can go say, all right, we're going to evaluate the crap out of this position, and we're going to go find the best fit. We're going to go find a really, really good coach. And they can do that. But the right time to fire Luke Fickell is today.
Yeah,
right now.
I agree. It's
done. It's done. D-U-N done.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. Next up, this is Dave. Election time. Is Louisiana about to have the first election for a head coach? Yeah. So that was about the governor's comment that he would rather have Donald Trump select the next LSU head coach than current AD.
The statement that came out from LSU made it sound like Woodward's going to pick the coach, and a lot of people were talking to her like, yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case.
The governor has a lot of power down there.
Yeah,
that's a state university.
It is. No, they're involved. Like, they're super involved in everything. Yeah. When they fired him, they had to he was involved, and they met the governor's mansion and stuff like crazy. All right, I got to get out of here. Good stuff. Enjoy the weekend of games. Should be some fun ones. But for David Wood, just Wood,
wow,
not more than one Wood, just some Woods. I'm Ryan Abraham. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye.